Welcome back to another story from the family records. Before we tell today's story, make sure to like the video if you enjoy and subscribe to the channel if you're new. We tell the stories of the records in my family collection every week. Ring the bell so you never miss the needle drop. Today's band was formed in North London in 1963 by brothers Dave and Ray Davies. Widely regarded as one of the most influential rock bands of the 60s, we find them releasing their 12th album 10 years later in 1973. And with its release, dramatically shifting the paradigm of the band. Let's drop the needle on. The Kinks, Preservation Act 1. Beginning with their debut album, Kinks, the Kinks enjoyed success and influence. In fact, even before the debut, the band's third single, You Really Got Me, showed they could make great music and could chart new musical paths for others to follow. You Really Got Me has been described as, quote, a blueprint song in the hard rock and heavy metal arsenal. From that beginning, the band didn't slow down. They released 10 albums in 9 years, from 1964 to 1973. They were also stopped from touring in the United States by the American Federation of Musicians, who refused permits for 4 years for the Kinks' behavior. Some of that behavior included onstage fights between band members, like when Dave Davies kicked over Mick Avery's drum set, and then Avery hit Davies with the hi-hat stand, rendering him unconscious. Avery then fled the scene, fearing that he had killed his bandmate. Davies received 16 stitches to his head. Hits on the charts, hits on the stage, the Kinks continued to influence their contemporaries, like the Beatles, with the music they were making. Songs like See My Friends, which Barry Fantoni, friend of the Beatles, said, quote, I remember it vividly and still think it's a remarkable pop song. I was with the Beatles the evening that they actually sat around listening to it on a gramophone, saying, you know, this guitar thing sounds like a sitar. We must get one of those. After a decade making music, the Kinks entered a period of transition, both as members of the band left and joined, and as the band left their original record label and signed a 5-album deal with RCA. As the Kinks built their own recording studio, Kink, with the $1 million advance they got as part of the RCA deal, and as the musical signature of the band evolved from rock to theatrical. 10 years after their formation, the Kinks began working on their 12th album, Preservation Act 1. In 1973, Ray Davies dived headlong into the theatrical style, beginning with the rock opera Preservation, which was released in 2 acts in 1973 and 1974, respectively. In conjunction with the Preservation project, the Kinks lineup was expanded to include a horn section and female backup singers, essentially reconfiguring the group as a theatrical troupe. Ray Davies' marital problems during this period affected the band adversely, particularly after his wife, Rasa, took their children and left him in June 1973. Davies became depressed, and during a July show at the White City Stadium, he told the audience he was, quote, fucking sick of the whole thing, and was retiring. He subsequently collapsed after a drug overdose and was taken to hospital. Ray recovered from his illness, as well as his depression, but throughout the remainder of the Kinks' theatrical incarnation, the band's output was uneven. Preservation Act 1 released November 16, 1973. It sold poorly, peaking at number 177 on the Billboard 200, although critically, it was well received on its debut. Better received was the live show that accompanied the album. The Kinks embarked on an ambitious US tour through late 1974. They had, at this point, resolved their issues with the American Federation of Musicians. Author Robert Polito wrote about the stage show, saying, quote, Davies expanded the Kinks into a road troupe of perhaps a dozen costumed actors, singers, and horn players. Smoother and tighter than on record, Preservation Live proved funnier as well. The roller coaster story for the Kinks would continue, with 2 more theatrical-based albums, including Preservation Act 2, before the band would return to further commercial success for nearly another decade, before another decline in popularity and an eventual split, and then, as of June 2018, rumors of a possible reunion. The Kinks remain as influential and relevant today as they were 60 years ago. And here we go with my goodbye thoughts, which start off with me thinking that this was day 1 of me catching up. because it makes a personal life and work stuff and just trying to get on top of everything that I've been behind on, which I was thinking I was going to be doing for the next 3 days. But sorry, this is just my notes here. It's not a script. It's just like I refer back to my notes just so I know sort of what I wanted to talk about. Anyway, that was my plan. Obviously, best laid plans. My camera kept turning off while I was recording because there was a stop in my script and it kept activating it, and it took me forever to realize. So I ended up putting myself behind. It's great. So yeah, but I'm not complaining. This is gonna get turned around nicely, and I'm still gonna get ahead the next couple days, and it's good, and everything's just turning super nice. Like the weather's starting to get super nice, which is great. Also means I have to get out in the backyard, so I'm just splitting my time between more and more things. I gotta get out in the yard, get the garden started. I'm gonna do some kind of series about that. I think my thinking is I'm just gonna sort of do a really casual weekly update, maybe track my progress with that, and then also be able to track myself in future seasons against that, and just watch my progress. So that's kind of what I've been doing with all these, is just trying to build a path of progress. So I think I'm going to do something with that this year anyway. But yeah, this weekend I'm going to do the record recap. Ideally I'll do that tomorrow, so Saturday I'll knock that out, and then I'll put that out probably early next week, just the first 33, and then move forward with more of these. So not too much to say on that one, but it is coming soon. I know I've been talking about it for almost probably like a little over a week now, but very soon that'll be there. Looking forward to that one. Gardening, sandwich spaces, all the other videos, you know. Yeah, I'm going to get through all of that. So also on the record poll, you'll see today, if you watch the full poll, I'm starting to do some shuffling of the records in their respective cubbies, just because I'm randomly choosing the records, but I'm always putting myself in the middle of the pile just to grab something from there. It seemed unfair to the records on the edges to keep doing that, not exactly random. So as I'm going to go through each one of them now, I started with this one. I'm just going to cycle those outside records to the inside and do kind of like a little bit of a card shuffle, and just, just to give us a little more variety and get to some albums that, you know, probably we wouldn't have otherwise. But just to mix it up anyway in the spirit of randomness. So yeah, looking forward to what we pull coming up. On this album, we got lots of good stories for songs, so I'm going to have a few of those also. So I think the weekend's going to be pretty content rich. So yeah, I'll have those dropping tomorrow morning, and then evening, and then Sunday morning and evening. And then yeah, ideally the record recap Monday morning. I think that'll be good. The record recap's going to be a full video, like I'm thinking 15 minutes, could be longer, who knows. But yeah, just kind of give you an update and everything. What's up with you guys? What's going on in all your lives? It's Fridays, so that's probably, you know, a lot of people are stoked about that. I remember Fridays. My week is totally disassociated now from reality. So every day is just basically another day. It's nice, and it's also not. So it's good and bad. I try to keep track, but anyways, yeah, hope you all had great weeks. Lots of stuff you're looking forward to on the weekend. This beautiful weather that we're having wherever you are, hope it's the same. Love you all. Thank you. Let me know what's going on with you. Leave your comments down below. Like, subscribe, join the family. I'll talk to you again soon. So just a little BTS here, something I've been doing, because I always pull out of the middle of the records. But I realized, I'm like, well, man, there's a bunch on the edges. So what I've been doing as I'm going now, so I started with this guy, is I'm just remixing here a little bit and moving some of the outer records to the inside. God, there's so many. Okay, here we go. We got this. Yes. Excuse me. And now the record pull. Oh man, my neck feels, that's so good when you lean back every morning.